Hello and welcome everyone again to another video, and today's video we are going to talk about the best teams in Season 20. Season 20 max out update is almost here. Today is September 1st. We are 3 days away from the new season, and I'm recording by the time this video is live. The new season might just be started. And, you know, just like before any other themed cast, just like for any season start, it doesn't start until we make a top teams video, best Pokemons, best safe swaps. Technically, best safe swaps are best Pokemons also. Best existing Pokemons, and so we can all like try to use these Pokemons and try to make as many creative teams as possible. Without further ado, let's just go and talk about these Pokemons. And today, we are doing a run finally for our green screen. The green screen is working because I have sunlight, so too much light. Okay, enough yapping. Okay, let's head to the work. Top teams and max out update, aka Season 20. I'm Yasser Alid, and you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv Yasser Alid, or on this channel where you can subscribe for free and get all the content that would actually help you out into climbing in this game. I divide them as always: good leads, good safe swaps, closers. Closers are Pokemon that are good everywhere. Closers are technically not as much of a good lead, but I generally I don't think the term closer is accurate. Like closers, I usually to describe the OP Pokemons in the meta. As an example, I have Clodsire here, Feraligatr, and Feraligatr is by far the best Pokemon. Just as simple as that, Feraligatr is the best Pokemon in the Open Great League. As an example. Okay, good leads. Good leads are usually Pokemons that have decent fast move pressure, baiting move, and a nuking move. But Azu is an exception, because Azu is a good closer, is a good safe swap, is a good lead. So I have it here in the first slot as this is one of the best Pokemons, because I didn't talk enough about it in the previous video where I talked about the best buffed Pokemons. So in this video, okay, good leads. Azu is actually one of the best Pokemons you could ever use. It didn't get above this season. It got above last season. But the hardest counter for Azu, which is Lantern, got a nerf, so now it's even better than previous season. Another Pokemon that didn't get buff but is decent is Charjabus. Charjabus didn't get any buff, but usually it was meta before. It didn't get touched, which means it will still be meta. Alolan Marowak got two buffs actually. Fire Spin got buffed, and Bone Club get buffed. Bone Club is a decent move. It used to be garbage, one of the worst charge moves in the entire game. Machamp got a nerf to counter, but they buffed Karate Chop, and they nerfed Rock Slide, so now you run Karate Chop, Cross Chop, and Stone Edge. Cross Chop also get a buff, so technically they have been buffing Machamp. Some conspiracy theories here. Machamp is the favorite Pokemon for Michael Stiranka, which is Niantic's sales manager, the guy who actually came up with the GoFest ideas, community days, if you guys know him. So conspiracy theory, I'm just starting here on this channel that they buffed it because it's Michael's favorite Pokemon. I'd be like, Yasser, John Hankey's favorite Pokemon is Tentacruel, and Tentacruel got nerfed last season. What's your point? Okay, Pangoro. Pangoro is number 5 on PvPoke, but I believe that Pangoro is the new Scrafty. What does that mean? Scrafty used to be top 5 PvPoke all the time, because the Sims always assume that the opponent will shield the bad move, aka Power Up Punch. So with Pangoro gets to a Night Slash pretty fast. So I think the Sims assuming that people will shield Night Slash non-stop. I don't think it will happen. I don't think you should be shielding from Pangoro, okay? Just don't fall for it. Quag is still as decent, but to be honest, Gastrodon is the gassed version of Quag, okay? It's gassed on a steroid. This Pokemon is so insane in the current meta. It has Mud Slap, and Mud Slap is the better version of Dragon Tail. That's how insane this fast move is. It has Body Slam, it has Water Pulse, it has Earth Power. So technically, you hit the flyers with Body Slam, you hit everything that's on the ground with Earth Power. It should beat everything in the neutral matchups because it has one of the best fast moves in the entire game currently. What about Malamar? Malamar get a huge buff to Psywave, okay? That will make Malamar one of the best steel counters because it has Superpower and Foul Play. Malamar is technically the Psychic that beats other Psychics. Why? Because it has a subtyping of Dark. It has Foul Play. It resists Psychic fast moves 8 times, I think. So technically it's supposed to be a night mode for the Cress. Except that Cress has Moonblast, which does super effective to Malamar and almost one shot, because Malamar is not is not a tanky Pokemon. But Malamar is the dark Pokemon that doesn't fear Fights because it has subtyping Psychic, where like the Psychic will make the fighting damage resist neutral. Also, it has Psywave, which is getting a huge buff this season, so you will have a Psychic fast move and you will actually be the dark Pokemon that beats Fighters. And you might guys be saying that, isn't that Sableye, Yasser? Well, Sableye is not as good in the current meta, so let's just say that. Safe swaps. Safe swaps are generally Pokemons that do well against their own hard counters by having 1-up fast move, by having decent coverage, and a big example about that is Mandibuzz. And now Mandibuzz against Lantern, Mandibuzz used to have a good matchup if Mandibuzz is up a shield, okay? Cresselia can beat Shadow Sableye. Cresselia can beat stuff like a Charjabug as an example. It can beat its own counters by having Energy Lead. That's because due to their maximum bulk. They are so tanky, they are so bulky, and they don't fear anything. Maybe Registeel, they fear that because Registeel is just a huge robot that doesn't fear anything. Dugong is another example where like it's an ice Pokemon that has a decent play against Fights because it has decent bulk, good fast move pressure, and it has Drill Run, which dish out some decent, good neutral damage. In some cases, sometimes double super effective. As an example, Dugong can force Bastiodon sometimes to shield. Drapion got a huge buff this season, which is not a huge, but to be honest, it just needs a small buff to be meta. This Pokemon is so good, okay? And I'm gonna say it again. I always say it. If you're going to use a Drapion, please use Shadow. Why Shadow? Because 2 crunches from Shadow almost knock out. So now with the Poison Instinct buff, it should knock out. Well, like if you're running non-Shadow, you need 3 charge moves. Sable Guy, I think I've talked about this Pokemon a lot, so I'm not going to talk as much. Sableye is one of the best safe swaps, one of the best investment you could do. In this season, the Shadow is actually might be better. The Closets are Pokemon that generally do insanely good in the Zero Shield, and the biggest example about that is Bastiodon Carbink. And now you add Clodsire. Clodsire is supposed to be the best Pokemon next season. Think of a Clodsire as the next generation Registeel, okay? That's how you think about it. So this Pokemon, the Zero Shield, is supposed to be a beast. Wigglytuff has been getting buffs non-stop every season. And it gets to the point where like, stop buffing Wigglytuff. It's already good enough. It's already OP, okay? Stop injecting it with steroid, okay? It's so good already. Please. like what are you trying to do? Like next season, I feel like they will give it Force Palm, and so it can beat all the steel as well. Please stop buffing Wigglytuff, okay? They gave Wigglytuff Swift, okay? Then they buffed his Swift. They gave it Icy Wind. They gave it Disarming Voice. Jumpluff is technically the best grass Pokemon this season. Arguably, you could say Ferrothorn, but the thing is, Ferrothorn is now going to run Metal Claw, so it doesn't have grass fast move, so it might have some scuffed matchup against something like Feraligatr, because Feraligatr can just shield the fast move, the charge moves, and the fast move will be resisted, and one might not KO, so let's just say that. One might not, okay? Don't say like, oh, Yasha said it doesn't KO. I said might not KO. I didn't check the sims, because if you're non-shadow here, good IV, you're supposed to live. Those are like technically the OP Pokemons, okay? So I made a video, top buffed Pokemons. I recommend watching that. I tried to summarize the entire buffed list Pokemons into like what you need to invest in and what are the OP stuff you should be investing in. Some anti-meta Pokemons. I would say that Tropius should be meta, but the problem with Tropius, Razor Leaf get a nerf, so it got a buff to Brutal. They gave it to Brutal Swing, then they rebalanced Brutal Swing to be an Aqua Tail clone, then they nerfed Razor Leaf, so it's not as effective. I don't know how I feel about the green screen. You know what? I'm just gonna remove it, and you guys let me know. Do you guys prefer with or without green screen? So please let me know. Was it better with or without? Okay, now it looks so scuffed. In this list, is there anything that's worth mentioning? Yes, Talonflame is decent. It's slightly behind the meta in Great League. It's so good in Ultra League. Obama Snow is decent. Trev is... I wish it's good, because I love that Pokemon. Alolan Ninetale is still decent, but technically there are two better fairy Pokemon. So you could say Wiggly is much better, Clefable is better, but technically Clefable is a fairy wind Pokemon. And another Pokemon that is also better, Primarina, might be better, okay? Some spicy Pokemons that should be good next season is Shiftry, has decent play. Gallade has a good play. I don't want to talk about Hypno. Galvantula has always a play in the meta. Celio is actually good. So now we talked about the Pokemon. Let's just move on and talk about the meta teams that you will see next season. So now, disclaimer here. I built those teams to be in a way balanced teams, okay? If people decide to use ABB teams, that's different, okay? But what I'm trying to hear, it's like, okay, if you want to use this Pokemon makes a decent core, and I believe that the third is kind of covered both. But lots of people use ABA teams or ABB teams. So if you don't see these teams, that doesn't mean those teams do not exist. That means, yes, the core exists, but not maybe the general idea of the team. As an example, let's say I'm talking about Machamp, Lickilicky, Amok, which I will talk about in a bit. So people might not run Amok, they would just run another fighter. So technically the concept of the team is still the same. So before we move to the teams, okay, because this is a new season, how do you transition into new season, okay? Simply, you have to play the same concept. What does that mean? I'm gonna give you an example here from the wholesome underscore stream. He's a Pokemon Go player, Pokemon Go streamer, and a Pokemon Go player, Twitch streamer, and the Pokemon Go caster. He's one of the casters you see in North American streams or during actually Pokemon Go World Championship. So he's known for his OG team, which is Machamp, Snorlax, Amok. So now a new season started, okay? And he has to play Ultra League. So how would he change his team? He's simply going to change Snorlax to Lickilicky and Amok into Drapion, because Drapion is the better Poison Dart and Lickilicky is the new, better normal type Pokemon. So technically, he has the same concept. He's running the same concept. It's just different new buffed Pokemons that do the same job, okay? They do the same job, but they are the buffed version of his team. So now I'm going to teams from regionals, chads, regional players. Okay, I'm going to. I asked competitive players. I asked extremely good players. Okay, call them whatever you want, to send me teams so I can feature them. Because to be honest, I want to build some teams, but I also want to get another idea. I don't want to keep repeating the same concept I have, like I've been talking about. But today's video, we're going to feature lots of teams from crazy good players in the Go Battle League, and the regionals meta, and Pokemon Go casters. And the first team is going to be from the best player himself, okay? Who's that, Yasser? You know who's that. So what I will be running next season, I'm going to be running Feraligatr. And if you know Feraligatr, it's weak to grass. So we need a grass answer. So that's why I'm running Awak. And they are both weak to electric. So that's why we need a grass Pokemon. And the grass Pokemon will be one of those three. It could be Ferrothorn as well, okay? It could be Ferro. So it could be Ferro, could be Tropius, could be Jumpluff, could be Cresselia. Which one will be running? It doesn't matter. They all have the same concept, again, as I mentioned. Now moving into another team featuring Malamar, and here we'll be talking about a team that was sent to me from Elam. Elam Pogo is a former rank 1 player, and to give context to the screenshot here, because my teammates were making fun of him. I was like, oh, you hit number 1 in 2020. That's like okay, we can't like say like who. So we gave concept to the screenshot. By the way, for context, I was out of the leaderboard range the day before this. So he went from outside the leaderboard into number 1 on the leaderboard because everyone was making fun of him. So he had to make this statement. Okay, let's say a statement. So Elam said, if Psywave is good, he's gonna run it with Feraligatr and the Clodsire. So Feraligatr is the safe swap, Clodsire is the closer here. So buffed Pokemon, not buffed Pokemon, but this Pokemon is decent enough. And you know, like the wholesome guy we talked about, he sent me another team because that's the team he's gonna run in Ultra League as an example, to give you guys an idea on what to do in the new meta, how to transition. How generous of him, right? So the wholesome underscore team is basically going to be Alolan Sandslash, Dude, I always say Kalolan. Kanto. Kanto This is not Sand Slash. Okay, oh, this is Marowak. What am I talking about? Okay. Dude, they buffed Pokemons that have never been used, okay? So, I need to keep up. So, it's Ice, Double Ground. It's an ABB team. You use this guy to bait out the grass, and then you finish it with this guy, and then this guy here, sweep. So, the team is basically ABB format. Ice, Double Ground. Technically, Lantern doesn't exist anymore. Quagsire is actually tough for the team, but the problem is that those stuff actually beat Quagsire. Quagsire used to be the ground that beats other ground, but no more because those two people here have Mud Slap. Moveset is literally you go to PvPoke, you check the Pokemons, and you run the same moveset suggested on PvPoke. With here, I think he said you run Powder Snow, by the way, so it's not Shadow Claw. Why don't I have the moveset? Because I want people to do their own research as well. So I'm going to recommend the team for you, and I want you to do your research because that's how you improve. You have to do your own research. Another team that was suggested from That Boy J, a former rank 1 too. Okay, he hit number 1, unlike Elam, which he hit number 1 at 2700. That Boy J hit rank number 1 at 3267. And the team he said that's actually going to be Insane's Dragonite with Talonflame and Clodsire in the back. He's enjoying the nerf to Spark Lantern, I guess, because his team is just close to 1 Lantern. How does he beat Azu? Yeah, how does he beat Azu? Well, Talonflame isn't bad into Azu. Clodsire has Poison Sting, and it does beat Azu now, okay? It used to lose to Azu, but not anymore. Another team here we have from Softoff. She hit top 5 last season, and she's a Pokemon Go player. You will see her name in the leaderboard. She's a Pokemon Go caster as well. And Softoff is running ABB, Double Ground, Water Double Ground technically. What about the Grass? How does this team beat the Grass? Well, technically Clodsire beats the Grass. Feraligatr does beat the Grass in the 2. And Diggersby isn't bad into Grass because you have Fire Punch. So you have 2 options with Diggersby. You either run Mudshot, Fire Punch, Scorching Sand, or you want to run Quick Attack, Sand, Scorching Sand, and Hyper Beam. So it's up to you which one you should be running. Another team from the Pokemon himself. Pokemon also hit number 1. Dude, what is this one? Let me see. He always liked to have stuff upside down. So Pokemon hit number 1 at 3,503. Okay? So the best rank 1 so far. So he's known for running his Goodra. He used to run Goodra when Goodra was actually bad. His team last season used to be Feraligatr, Goodra, and Scolodurge, right? So in this season, because AWAC get 2 huge buffs, he thinks that AWAC Shadow 1 is actually going to be better than Scolodurge. Do I agree? Well, it's not my team. It's not up to me to decide, right? So he's going to run AWAC. He said that Feraligatr didn't get a nerf, and it was OP, so it should be OP. Goodra was decent in the safe swap. It should still be decent in the safe swap. And Alolan Marowak should be a nightmare for the grass Pokemons. Now, if you watch this channel, you know how much we love using Dragonite. So, in this team here, I'm going to transition the Dragonite team. The Dragonite teams used to be Dragonite, Lantern, and Vigoroth. The season before, it used to be Dragonite, Lantern, Licky. So now, all of these Pokemons are nerfed. So what to do? Okay, you run Dragonite with Charjabug, with Feraligatr, or Gastrodon. So what do you do against Azulid? You swap into the 3rd, okay? You save Charjabug for later because they will swap out. Now, another teammate of mine, the Masked Asian, he's a competitive player. I think I don't remember what he reached in day 2 in EUIC, but he went. I think he was top 8. I don't remember correctly. Top 8 or top 16. Basically, he said this is the new Basti team. Okay, Basti now needs Jumpluff as the grass Pokemon because Jumpluff is the best grass Pokemon, and Wigglytuff is always paired with Basti. So this is supposed to be the new Basti backline. Another team I wanted to talk about, which is a Dragonair teams. If you guys watch this, you know how much we also play Dragonair. So if you are someone who played Dragonair or Goodra in the lead, okay, now you run Shadow Empoleon and Charjabug. Empoleon is getting a buff to Steel Wing, and Steel Wing is supposed to be the way to go. Now, do you guys remember the Memi team? Well, if you use this team, well, it's going to be as good, okay, even better next season. By next season, I mean season 20, max out update. And there is an actual YouTube video about it on the channel. Shadow Empoleon takes Memi to number 1 in the world. I recommend this video if you want to play or try out this team. Go watch it first, okay? Watch it first before you start playing this team. This team is extremely decent. In fact, in my previous video, I played the Primarina and I took this team and I just changed Wigglytuff to Primarina and I had some decent results with it. I went 3-2, 3-2, 4-1, 4-1 with it. So not a single negative set, even though we were using an inferior charm Pokemon. We have another team here from Smash King. Smash King said he thinks this team is a solid team, but he's not gonna use it because he doesn't like fairies. But he had to adjust for a fairy Pokemon because he's like, yeah, sir, I'm gonna run AWAC with Feraligatr. So you choose my third. So I'm like, dude, can't you just submit a team like everyone else? He's like, this is what you have, okay? Deal with it. So I had to deal with it, so I put 2 fairies with it. So the third is actually subjective to change. You could have a fairy, you could have a grass. It's up to you. Now, I asked Fuxer, which is also a former rank 1, but his rank 1 is similar to Elam's rank 1, slightly higher. So far, Elam has the worst rank 1. Hey, if you hit number 1, that means in that day you were the best player in the world. So it doesn't matter whether it's low, 2800, whether it's 3600. Okay, those are extremely OP players. Okay, those are one of the best in the world. And if they say this team is good, that means this team is good. So Ferguson said he's gonna play Jumpluff with Gastrodon and Registeel. I'm like, dude, give me something that got above, okay? He's like, yes, sir, I need the Registeel for the ice. I'm like, okay, let me cook. So I put this Dunsparce. I put Dunsparce as a third, as in the anti-ice Pokemon here. Usually, if you see an ice in the lead, you just go to Gastrodon. If they swap it an ice Pokemon, you go to Dunsparce, because Dunsparce has Rollout, which is getting a huge buff, plus Rock Slide. Rock Slide isn't as good anymore, but the damage you lost from Rock Slide, you have it from the fast move, if it's not even better. So another team, okay, Yasser approves. You know, like the Lantern Double Dragon that you see in your games that was popularized by this player you guys are watching, Lantern Double Dragon. Next season is going to be Empoleon Double Dragon. So Empoleon, please run Shadow Empoleon. Please do not use non-Shadow Empoleon. Another team, I call it the Swifties. What's the thing about the Swifties? Well, triple Swift. Everything here has a Swift. You could use a third, I think, Ursaring, the second evolution of the bear, and it would still be a Swifty. But to be honest, I am very excited into trying this team because now a Swift is better, and I have a rank 5 Great League Uxie, like 0-14-13 or something like that. It's a rank 5, so I am excited to use it again next season. I used it last season, but it wasn't as impressive because the Swift was just bad last season. Moving into a neutral play team, Dragonair with Clodsire and Charjabug. This team should have a neutral play. You could, if you don't have Shadow Dragonair, you could just use Goodra. More Clodsire teams. Clodsire actually makes a decent core with Wigglytuff. The problem is that they struggle against Venusaur. So if you see a Venusaur, you just run Psychic Umbreon, and Psychic Umbreon does beat Venusaur. And as always, if you don't have the skills in this game, you don't have to master the game. You could always run Triple Charm and just keep tapping your screen for the win. Thank you so much for watching. This is the end of the video. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe because it's a free. It doesn't do it doesn't cost you anything, but it does help this channel to grow more and more. And thank you so much for watching. This is the end of the video. If you like this content, make sure to leave a like. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And that's it for today. Enjoy the rest of your day, night, or whatever you're having. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Peace.